everybody. I'm so happy to be with you today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Alex Fries. I'm a wildlife biologist and environmental educator living up in Virginia. I actually used to live in North Carolina, where all you guys are right now, and I'm talking to you today about backyard birds. Birds are one of my absolute favorite kinds of animals. I have had the huge pleasure of working with birds for a number of years, and backyard birding is one of the things that really got me into birds, being able to watch them and learn a little bit about their behavior right from the comfort of your home looking out the window. So I'm going to start out today talking to you about some of the most common backyard birds that you could see. In North Carolina, one of the most common backyard birds you're going to see is actually your state bird. It's called the northern cardinal. This is a really brightly colored bird. They're flashy red when they're males, and they're a little bit more of a duller brown with some hints of red on their wings when they're females. And the females actually have a bright orange beak, which is really distinctive. They've got a crest on their head that they will stand up when they're singing or when the males are calling in their territories. Like I said, it is the state bird of North Carolina, which makes it even more exciting to see. So if you're ever looking out the window and you see a big flash of red fly by, that's probably your northern cardinal. Another really common backyard bird you could see is a blue jay. I'm hitting all the big colorful ones first. The blue jay is actually related to crows and ravens. They're in a group called the corvid family, and they have a really loud, piercing call. They are blue in color, they have some patterning on them, and they also have a crest on their head. They're a little bit of a bigger bird. They're going to be bigger than a cardinal that you might see, but they have a long, skinny beak and a lot of white coloration on them as well. White and blue are their main colors. So if you see a blue looking bird in your backyard, it might be a blue jay. However, it might also be one of my favorite backyard birds, the eastern bluebird. I am actually really lucky. I have had a nest of eastern bluebirds in my backyard this year, and it was so cute to watch those babies grow up. Eastern bluebirds are blue from their head all the way down their back to their tail, and the males actually have a really brightly orange colored stomach. The females, it's a little bit more whitish or grayish on the front, not quite as orange as the males, but they do have some orange on them. They are what's called a cavity nester. So unlike the two birds I've talked about before, which are blue jays and northern cardinals that will build a nest in a tree or in a bush, an eastern bluebird will find a little hole in a log or in a tree or even in a box that you can put in your backyard, and they will make their nest in that cavity that's behind that hole. So if you have any dead trees in your yard, or if you have any big tall fence posts that have a hole in them, you may have eastern bluebirds living in your backyard. Now, you probably in your own backyards have seen a lot of birds that just look brown. There are different kinds of brown. Some are light brown, some are dark brown, some are brown with black streaking on them, some are brown with different colored feet. In the birding community, we often call those LBJs, or little brown jobs, which is just kind of a common name for all the different kinds of brown birds you could see in your backyard. Some of the really common types of little brown birds you could see in your backyard would be house sparrows, or brown thrashers, or house finches. The females are brown, and the male house finches actually are this beautiful kind of purpley red color, and they're all just about, you know, this big, and they all look really similar. So those are some of the backyard birds that you may encounter. I want to show you some things that are really helpful for you to view birds in your backyard. The number one tool you could use to view birds better in your backyard is a bird feeder. So this is just a very common type of bird feeder. Little cakes of seed are put in these two little slots right here. You can hang it from a tree, you can hang it from a post that you put in your yard, and this is a really good way to attract birds to your backyard so that you can see a wide variety of birds. Another really important thing to have when you're viewing backyard birds are binoculars. This is going to let you get a really close-up look at a bird, especially if it's one of those LBJs or little brown jobs. Getting a really good look at that bird can help you determine what kind of bird it is by looking at the different stripe patterns, the different spot patterns, the different markings on that bird that helps you tell one seemingly similar bird from another one. So always have a pair of binoculars with you. The last thing I would suggest for backyard birding would be field guides. These guides are so helpful in learning how to identify birds, learning more about birds that you could see in your own backyards, about where they live, what their migratory patterns are, when are they going to start nesting, how many babies could they have, what do they look like when they're juveniles, what about males versus females. These are two that I really love. This is the Sibley Field Guide to Birds of Eastern North America. So you always want to make sure when you're picking up a field guide, it's the correct region that you're living in. So we live in the east here, and you live in the east in North Carolina. So there's your Eastern Birds of North America. And then this is a great all-around guide. This is the Audubon Society Field Guide to Birds of North America. And this is going to be a more comprehensive guide to look at a bunch of different birds across North America. The great thing about these is they're going to have pictures inside of them to really help you get a good look at what kind of birds are in your backyard and help to identify what they are. I had such a nice time talking with you today. Thank you so much for having me. Like I said, I'm a wildlife biologist. I actually got my degree in wildlife biology from North Carolina State University, and I absolutely love studying birds. I've been able to capture birds in mist nets and put little bands on them, which if they are caught sometime in the future, help scientists learn a little bit more about where they came from and where they've migrated to. Birding is such a great thing that you can do in your spare time, right in your own backyard, especially if you're stuck at home a little bit more nowadays than you used to be. So thank you so much again for having me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your 4-H experience.